Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to iHeartRadio So Bad It's Good. Today, I am so excited to have my next guest. I don't think I've talked to him on this show for like multiple years because with the people that are legendary, you got to really be careful on when you ask. You can only do it every couple of years. I really, truly think that. But I bumped into him at BravoCon this past year. And we were just commenting that I no longer have a mustache. And one of the reasons is because I had too many conversations at BravoCon with people that I would get into full conversations with, where it would start with, "You mean so much to me. You cheer me up every day." And then they would go, "Your writing is just so incredible." And I was like, "Writing? I do a podcast. I guess maybe you could, if you're reading a transcript." And then I realized they were talking about Brian Moylan because I had a mustache. So I gained 50 pounds and have a white beard now, just so I never will have to be confused for Brian Moylan again, because it was really, truly offensive. But if you do not know Brian Moylan, I know you guys know him. He is the author of one of my favorite books, The Housewives, The Real Story Behind the Real Housewives. This is truly, it's blurred. It's truly an amazing book that will take you down every Bravo road. But if you want a real treat and you don't know, he does the Vultures Housewives Institute Bulletin newsletter, which you can sign up for. I'm going to put the link, but it'll be delivered to your inbox every week. And his writing, I just was reading his Real Housewives of Orange County recap. It just brings something to the conversation every week. There is just something so amazing, and he's been doing this for years. His writing has appeared in the New York Times, The Guardian, Vice, Gawker, Cosmo, everything. He's just a really amazing dude at this, and it's incredible that we have him here today to talk all things Bravo. So, Mr. Brian Moylan, welcome back to the show.
All right, Billy, thank you so much. I mean, I had the same experience as you. People kept being like, "I love your podcast." I'm like, "Girl, I don't got no podcast. Do you know who I am?"
Oh man, the embarrassment I felt after I hugged somebody and then they said the writing part, and I was like, "Wait a sec, I don't." And then it kept happening at BravoCon, and I was like, "Oh my god, I have a shirt that says I'm not Brian Moylan."
I know, it was the same. I just went with it. I was like, "Oh yeah, thanks." But I mean, if you've seen one middle-aged Irish American
Yes.
with a mustache, I mean,
I
guess you've seen them all.
Yeah, it was truly an incredible experience. And I was very flattered, but I thought, this isn't good for Brian. This is not, I gotta switch this up for him. It's 8 a.m. in Los Angeles. I don't usually wake up this early, but there's nobody else that I would wake up this early for. You are where, right? You're overseas, correct?
Yeah, I live in London. I've lived here for 5 years. I just reapplied for my visa, so I actually can't leave the island.
That's amazing.
Trapped.
That's truly incredible.
On the island until my visa comes through. So hopefully soon.
What's the Bravo fandom like? What's the Bravo fandom like over there?
It's different. It's not as pervasive. And so they air the Bravo shows. I mean, there's still only like 4 channels here, and so the ITV is one of the channels. And instead of getting new channels, there's just like ITV2, ITV3, ITV4.
That's very clever. Their marketing. Oh wait, do you watch Love Island?
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay, so we're 2 weeks behind over here, but they just hit Casa Amor, which you guys, if you don't watch Love Island, I recommend it on Hulu, but they're like 2 weeks behind, and they just hit Casa Amor, where they separate the guys and girls that have been in there, and they like bring up new guys and new girl, like bombshells, to try to break up the relationships. And it's one of the most exciting parts of Love Island. Are you digging it this season?
Oh my God, it's the best. And so we just got the recoupling after Casa Amor.
Oh no! You do not tell me anything. Do not.
I won't.
Oh
but
God.
You're gonna be pleased. And this season has been a bit of a snooze so far. And yeah, but Casa Amor was with it. But yeah, Bravo here is weird. Like the people that are into it are like really and like so excited to have someone to talk about it, because it's not like a thing. And so even if you're into it, there's not like the community. But during the pandemic, they put the first 2 seasons of all the house cities on Netflix. And so we got a bunch of like new people during the pandemic. So like post-pandemic, I've noticed there's a lot more fans, a lot more people engaged. We have a streaming service here called Hey You, which is like,
Yes.
yeah, it's like just shitty American reality shows. And so it's like, if you went from Netflix to Hey You, it was like selling your soul to Andy Cohen. It was like, you're like now like all in. So yeah, so
he
it's like,
feels that at a cellular level when you do that. He's like, I own you now. I'm
exactly. It's
owning.
like, oh, he got a tingle and he's like, oh, another Hey You subscriber. Oh, thanks.
That's not somebody pinching my nipples. That's another Hey You subscriber. That's amazing. Well, I always picture you like Gandalf over there of like you're in a castle somewhere and you're like the man that knows everything about the thing that we love, and you are hidden away in like this beautiful countryside.
It kind of is. It's always funny, like, you know, not to toot my own horn or anything, but when I'm with my English friends, like in America, or we run into like an American, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, Brian Moylan." It's like my friends are like, "Why do people know you?
Yeah.
You just like sit at home all day doing nothing." And I'm like, "No, I'm talking to the Housewives fandom."
Well, no, when I sat next to you at that one event at maybe it was the OC panel, I'm not but at BravoCon, I just remember thinking like this must be what, like I was trying to think like what Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen feel like when they're sitting next to Anna Wintour or something like that. I was like, wow, I'm sitting next to Brian Moylan here at BravoCon. That it doesn't get better than that.
Can I say, for the record, the BravoCon grinder was off the chain. I mean, they're like the first like 50 squares had to be like gay Bravo people, and I was like, "Hey boys, what's up?"
The alert is just going off nonstop as you're in the Beverly Hills panel. Like that's
yeah.
I guess to start bringing it to the actual Bravo shows, I was just reading your OC recap, and I guess one of my big questions for you is what the hell was going on at Cut Fitness when it was open? Like, was that actually a fitness center, or was it kind of like a hookup place? Speaking of hookups, because last night it got revealed that Ryan, Jen's new paramour, that there's like the big alleged, like, did they cheat or didn't they, literally walked into the gym for the first time and said, "I'm going to fuck you" to Tamra.
No, he said it was so weird in that it was like he said that he's gonna fuck Tamra, but it was to Tamra's friend. And then the friend was like, and I'm like, why are you mad about that? It's like, if we got in trouble every time I was like, I'm gonna fuck that guy, I mean, I'd go to jail 1,000,000 times a day. Like, yeah, the whole thing was bizarre. Where are you on, is Jen cheating or is Jen not cheating?
I'm at the point of like, I don't give a rip. Like, I honestly don't care. Yeah. And the fact that Gina is taking it so personally, it almost weirds me out, because I'm like, Gina, how hard in need of you are, like, you need a storyline that you are taking it this personal, because it really, like, it's almost made me reconsider my own morals, because I'm like, wait, should I be super offended that she's here right now? Should I be super offended that Jen potentially did this? Because Gina, like, I was like, I keep thinking I missed an episode where that Jen cheated with her ex, like with Gina's ex. I was like, is Matt involved in this?
Yeah, it's not like Brandy Glanville and Sheena here. It's like, you know, like, come on. Well, and I said in my recap, like, how would Gina feel if a new housewife showed up and was like, my son died because of a drunk driver and you have a DUI, and so now I can't ever speak to you again? Like, it's dumb. It's like, okay, she fucked this dude. Even if she did cheat on him, like, whatever, who cares? Like,
well, the funny thing is, life. But Jen, you can tell this is like her Achilles heel. You can tell she carries around, whether she did hook up in this car or didn't, you can tell she carries around this insane guilt about it. And it's very interesting too with Ryan, where they last episode, they, you know, in the boot barn, they had a whole conversation that this guy's a known philanderer. You know, it's like, my guy's amazing, but he's a cheater. Oh yeah, he's a cheater. He would tell you that he's a cheater.
I mean, I'm always like, whenever this cheating stuff happens, I'm like, this is some straight people bullshit, because first of all, like, I mean, have you met gay people or watched the Lesbian Ultimatum on Netflix, which is the best show
Which
ever.
is great, actually. That's
oh my God. Anyway,
yeah.
It's like straight people bullshit, but also like we wouldn't have any reality if straight people didn't care about this. Like if Ariana didn't care, we wouldn't have gotten any of schedule.
No,
So,
which by the way, that was gonna be a question down the line. Was that, did you hear that Tom cheated on Ariana? Were you aware of this? It
my
seemed
God, we can't go to BravoCon because the cheaters might be there.
Did you know Tom Sandoval was in a jacuzzi with Raquel? By the way, I do want a BravoCon Ken to interrupt every panel where he just stumbles on and says that jacuzzi line and then just walks off
with a different dog each time. Just like
with Ken, I always thought that like Jiggy, the original OG dog, rest in peace, Jiggy. I always thought they shared a life force, and that's why Ken always cradled it. And then I was like, when Jiggy passed, I was like so worried about Ken because I thought it was like E.T., like when Elliot and E.T. in that movie were separated, they both got sick. And I thought, I was like, oh, Ken needs another dog immediately or something's going to happen.
I have a feeling that Lisa hasn't told him that Jiggy's dead. That Ken still thinks the dog is just Jiggy.
It's alopecia as well. It's got to be Jiggy. The sweater. Yeah.
Oh my God. What if we found out that Ken Todd had been Weekend at Bernie's Jiggy for like all these years?
He's asleep again. Yes. No pictures. Okay, so this is way too fun already. Okay. So back to OC is that I knew.
Yes.
I know, this episode, like you said in your recap, was focused kind of around Tamra in a sense.
Yeah.
I do want to just say about Jen, I don't dislike Jen. And in fact, I think she was thrown into the deep end and she's kind of handled not herself with grace, but I kind of like that she's, offended about this relationship that she had. You can tell that it bothers her. And I also think she fits in perfectly in OC because we already got like 30 scenes where they've done so much like, hey, am I going to fuck you? And like, they all have those like innuendos, like he's massaging her with the massage gun. And we hear the audio of like, yeah, that's right. That's the right speed. Get it in there harder. I was
that
like, Eddie
is
must
their
be so
favorite
jealous.
trick. Oh my God. How many times have we seen their favorite trick is exercise? And it's like, and then you get there and it's like Luann with a water bottle doing a curl, it's like, girl, come on.
Just for once, I wanted to like them to pan up and they actually are having straight hardcore sex.
Yeah.
Like, just
and
for
it's
once.
like, yeah, it's Eddie Judge like balls deep in Tamra and she's with one of her like cowboy hats on. Yeah.
Well, I mean, what do you think about the return of Tamra? Just speaking of Eddie, the first episode, you could tell Eddie was kind of getting back into the swing of things because he only made like 10 sex jokes. He's like, what's for dinner? And he's like, you're for dinner, babe. It's like, we get
pussy. Yeah. Already. I mean, ideologically, I am opposed to bringbacks in that I feel, especially like, because fans are always like, oh, what the show needs is bring back Vicky, bring back Lydia McLaughlin, bring back fucking Lynn Curtin, like whoever. And, my thing is always like, the future of the show is not in the past. Like the future of the show is in like who we didn't even know yet. Like
exactly
in season 8, we weren't like, oh, go find Shannon Bedore, but like that's what they did, and thank God for them. So, but there's a very small number of exceptions of people who I will allow to bring back, and those are usually people who shouldn't have been fired in the first place. I believe that every time about Sheree Whitfield, never should have been fired, always welcome back, just rehire Sheree. I also feel the same way about Tamra, in that like I don't think she should have gone when she did. And so I'm like kind of cool with her being back, but I do want a little bit more of an acknowledgement in that she's having this kind of dynamic with Shannon. And what she's saying is those were the worst 2 years of my life because I wasn't on the show. And like, that's what I want, a little bit more acknowledgement of being fired sucks. Here's what I went through, you know, like loss of relevance, loss of a platform, blah, blah, blah. Like, I want to hear that. And
having to sell CBD, you know, like I had to sell CBD for the last 2 years and start a podcast with Freddie Mellencamp. Like that's what I had to do to put dinner on the table.
I had to go visit my weird son in his ranch.
Oh my God.
And he was dressed up like Woody from Toy Story.
No, that's what I said. I said, Ryan, Tamara's son, must have watched a season of Yellowstone and liked it so much that he made it his entire personality. Like he was like,
that's
he must
exactly what happened.
Like we watched Yellowstone and we liked it or thought it was kind of weird. Ryan watched Yellowstone and said, I've never seen something speak to me more than this show. Maybe since the gun show from years ago, but like this show is now his entire personality.
Could you imagine what Ryan's DVR like recordings are like? It's got to be like Ice Road Truckers, fucking Pawn Stars, Yellowstone, like OAN. He just records like OAN like all day. But I can't look at Ryan because I know that no matter what he's wearing, inside of his lip there is a tattoo that says Nugget.
Oh, and then well, in his ears you can tell like the spacers that used to be in the ears.
Yes.
Like you can see the old Ryan, and the thing is, he had to like eventually pivot to cowboy because it's the only thing with a big enough hat to hide the bald, to hide, because we all saw the one season where Ryan's hair didn't even want to be around him. Like we didn't want to be around Ryan either. His hair was like, we're out, dude. It's been a good run. We can't do this anymore. But Tamara is such a fascinating character because it's like the Matrix, like nobody is able to see. It's so clear to the audience what she does. Like you point out that she does this, she manages to like get in the shit, start the shit, and then be able to get out of the shit, really like be able to tell people like, no, I wasn't making fun of your IMDb, Heather. No, I think you have an amazing career. She does this episode season in, season out, and nobody ever catches on.
And then it lands on Taylor in the moment, and then they have a fight. And then we get to the reunion, they show the package, and Tamara's like, I'm sorry, I didn't remember that. And Heather's like, it's okay. And is like still yelling at Taylor.
Yes!
And it's like, yeah, like, girl. Yeah. Well, and that's why Tamara is a fucking professional. Like, she knows what her job is. She shows up, she does it. She's like a Kenya Moore. It's like she just delivers. And I appreciate people like that, even if they're not like always my favorite. It's like, thank you for bringing me this thing that I enjoy. So
yeah, but it was interesting. Tamara. It was a rocky start though, because even in that boat episode, she was like already screaming. Yeah, and even Shannon was like, what are we doing here? I'm not this tank. Like, and Tara was like, do it, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And it was like, wait, slow it down. But you can feel like she's getting her bearings again, and she's really, all of a sudden that shows you how like weak these other ladies, they didn't train in the off season, where Tamara is like immediately coming in and ruling the roost.
Yeah. Tamara's like, oh, you want a show? Here it is. I'll bring you the show. But I do feel like she is doing Jen with two ends dirty, because
big time.
She clearly brought her on the show. Well, and I don't know if it's her doing Jen dirty or Jen doing herself dirty, in that Jen has a narrative she wants to push, which is, I never touched Ryan before we got divorced. I wasn't cheating, blah, blah, blah. And Tamara's saying, you're telling different stories to different people. I think Tamara, is a veteran and knows you're not going to be able to hide this shit, and trying to lie about it is only going to make you look like an idiot. And so when she's telling Jen, like, tell the truth, that's what I think she's saying to her, is like, I know what you did. You just need to cop to it, because, because none of us believe it. And
don't you love the picture though? Like Tamara's Tamara's off the show, but in her head, the goal is to get back on the show. So I always like to think of Cut Fitness of like, she's like scouting people that she can eventually throw under the bus if she gets asked back to the show. Like, just for that opportunity. So she's like, this Jen would be perfect. So I'm going to get close to her in hopes of getting back on the show. This Ryan said he wanted to have sex with me. Like she's already, and also how does that happen and Tamara not tell Eddie? because Eddie still supposedly doesn't know, which Eddie seems like he potentially lived at Cut Fitness. How did this not get back to Eddie? Because it doesn't seem like a huge gym, Cut Fitness. Rest in peace.
No, you're absolutely correct. And how did this happen? And she didn't tell Jen. Like, Jen starts over, and they've been on like vacation and shit together. And she's, if I felt that badly about a remark a friend made to me or somebody made to me, and then that person started dating a friend of mine, I'd be like, you need to dump this guy. He's a fucking asshole. But no, she's like on vacation with this. She waited like 2 years to fucking tell him. She's like,
that's
I
a
finally
pro.
found a beautiful idiot to bring on the show. My sacrificial virgin.
Well, I was confused last night. You can maybe explain this to me because I'm sure you've gotten a dick pic or two in your day. Probably just today, actually. How does Ryan supposedly accidentally send a dick pic to one of Tamara's friends, but Jen was right next to him when he did that, and Jen says he meant to send that to me, the dick pic?
Yeah,
was that the story?
Yeah, and she's like, he was with me when he sent it. But the caption said, my limp D misses you. And it's like, wait, but like, that's what Tamara's talking about, is like, when you try to make shit up to hide the shit, it's like, he clearly sent this dick pic to this girl. Yeah. And like, okay, just be like, yeah, he did. I know, who cares? Like, you got to Lisa Rinna own it. When you try to like cover it up, that's when you look like an idiot. So, and Tamara's telling her, as a reality television professional, I know that it is better for you not to lie, so you should tell the truth. And Jen's going, no, I'm going to try it my way. And like, girl, listen to Tamara. It's going to be fascinating to see how this show changes Jen. Even by the end of the season, I think we're going to see such probably a change. But like, I will say, I saw this on Twitter because immediately after the first episode, Bravo Twitter, was like, oh my God, I've never seen anything as good as Orange County this season. It's so good. It's so good. And I think I read a reply of you're like, I'm not quite there yet. I'm not like throwing everything, but we are so quick to either hate or love immediately. There's no in between. And I was like, listen, after Scandival, I was kind of happy to have this kind of like, oh, we can just fight about bullshit. Like that, we don't have to. We don't have to have this really intense plot line. And I will say, like, I was there with you where I was like, I don't think it's the best thing ever. But then I will say, the last 2 weeks, I've looked forward to this show more than most shows that I watch. I agree. I'm coming around to it. I want there to be more women I like. That's
sorry, dude. Like, we'll see next season. Yeah.
Well, because I'm thinking of like, I agree with you. After Scandival and like Erica Jane and New Jersey and Jen Shaw,
Jersey,
and like all that, it's like I was ready for something nice and light. And Miami has been so good at that, where it's like stupid fights, petty drama, everyone's having fun, they're enjoying each other's company, and I'm getting some of that with Orange County, but they don't seem to be quite enjoying each other as much as the Miami ladies do. So I want a little bit more fun. And I feel like there's an excellent adage they use here in England for a person, and they call that person a mood hoover. Because a hoover is like a vacuum. And so a mood hoover is like someone who shows up and like ruins the mood. Yeah. And I feel like that person is Heather Dubrow.
Really? She's an energy vampire.
Heather Dubrow does not like to have fun. Heather Dubrow wants to sit there with her champagne and go, and it's like, no, I want to watch fucking Tamara and Shannon throw fucking gummy bears at each other across the kitchen. I don't want Heather to be like, oh, how dickless. Like,
well, you even made that point of even the IMDb argument, which I think, fighting over an IMDb resume is pretty amazing. I really enjoy that. But Heather was able to clear that, like, you will not, this is for women everywhere. I raise my family like many women do. And I am getting back into the acting world. Like, she cleared Taylor immediately, and she didn't even really raise her voice. She just got the finger up. That was as much as the finger went up. And I thought, like, that's it. She never like loses it.
No,
she never loses.
Yeah, and she never loses it, like either like falling down laughing or like yelling and screaming. It's like, and I appreciate that everyone brings a little bit different, but I feel like and it was like they went to that mechanical bull, right? First of all, half the women went to ride a mechanical bull in skirts, which is like, girl, you're going to ride a mechanical bull. Like, what? Dress for the part. And then secondly, like half of them were like, no. It's
But
like
Shannon was scared of breaking her hymen. She was like, I have a bony vagina. I can't, like, I don't want to lose my virginity to this mechanical bull.
I know. So I grew up in a smallish town in Connecticut, and there was like one like bar/club, and it was like country western themed. I don't even remember what it was called, but the sign out front said, "Come ride." It was like one of those signs where you could like swap the letters out, and it said, "Come ride the mechanical bull." And so my best friend in high school and I, that's what we used to call like masturbating, because she would use like a vibrator, and we'd be like, "Oh, did you ride the mechanical bull last night?" Like, yes, I did. So like that's all I could think about when these women always ride the mechanical bull. But not the Orange County ladies. I mean, fucking Cameron Westcott, of all people, got in a mechanical bull. Like,
oh my God. I was thinking about the Real Housewives of Dallas episode from the last season that it was on, when they did the woods trip, and then they dressed like, when they dressed like bears or wolves or something. Because I got scared last episode when Shannon went. I thought Shannon was going to dress up like a bear, but instead she dressed up like a whore, an old-timey prostitute, and poured shots. But it's so funny how Bravo, I don't know if it's on purpose, but recycles, not like, but like, oh, we'll do a Western themed episode, or we'll do a break stuff episode where we go and break like vases and stuff.
Is there anything Bravo that, like a mechanical bull or like vaginal rejuvenation, like something that we see all the time on a Bravo show that you were like, never again, I never want to see this thing again?
The break stuff was like, really, that was like, stood out to me. The murder mystery party for a second started to get a little, I think I saw that a couple too many times. And I will say, even though now, since the news of this week, psychics were starting to, because we had New Jersey, we had the T reader this season with Jennifer Aiden. So I was like, psychic abilities, not to shit on anybody. And by the way, psychics are having the best week ever this week, thanks to Allison Dubois. But so there are certain things that and also, those tropes. I mean, I guess I was even more just annoyed of like people pretending that they still worked at SUR. That to me was even worse than the break stuff, the worst.
I have two least favorites. One is anything like Prohibition, Great Gatsby, flapper themed parties, never again. My other second least favorite is the should we have another kid storyline. Like,
oh God,
no,
yes.
You should not have another kid. And you probably are physically incapable of having another kid. Why are we even entertaining this?
That's why I think Scandal worked so well in some ways, is because it was about something so specific. It was something so specific and so tawdry, and it involved other cast members. It wasn't like Sandoval cheated with somebody on the road with his karaoke band that we don't know. We know this person. We'd watched this person. We had strong opinions on this person finding her voice. So that to me is why it worked, because it was so specific. When and Vanderpump was never like, well, we know this information and we're going to do it around a murder mystery party. We're going to reveal it during a murder mystery party. Like, none of that happened. It was just, that was why I think it worked.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was so good.
Well, I just want to real quick on OC finishing up. Did you notice Tamara's shirt last night? What it said? It said a little bit country, a little bit hood.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, I'm shocked nobody's been offended by that yet. I was like, oh wow, like Tamara's really.
I mean, is Laguna Beach a hood?
Well, depending on which area. I mean, I guess Tamara's area, the Costco there that Eddie works at is not the best Costco.
Wait, does Eddie work at a Costco?
No, that's the recurring joke that they keep talking about. Because Tamara's mom that lives with them, that fucks in the back room, she came out and made a Costco joke in the first episode.
I am so scared of that mother's boyfriend.
Oh my God. He seems like a potential Netflix serial killer waiting to happen. He just doesn't say anything.
I mean, yeah, I would not want that in the back of my house, but What can I say?
They, by the way, I hope they do charge him rent. Like that would be like Tamara, like we got to keep him. Eddie's not working anymore.
What are we gonna do with Eddie?
I don't know, but like when they did the cut going away party, he was dressed like an 8th grader at a football dance, and he looked so defeated. He looked so defeated, and I just thought, like, has the spark gone out for Eddie because you truly believed that this was something that like gave him some sort of purpose? And it would be amazing if next season Eddie's like 280. He's, like he's just let himself go complete. It's like Nutty Professor almost, where he's let himself go. Like, I do want some sort of storyline for Eddie, because I just don't buy in the fact that he wants to just knock boots with Tamara day in, day out. There's got to be more.
I feel like Bravo should do like Dirty Jobs, but with Eddie. Like, let's see, like, let's just give Eddie a bunch of jobs and see how he does. Like, poor unemployed Eddie.
Well, and who's not employed is Terry Dubrow, who always shows up looking like, a marionette puppet or something. And he's always smiling.
Wait, how does Terry Dubrow not have a job?
No, I said Terry. On the other hand, Terry has a full job.
Oh,
Terry always shows up. He fully works. And now they're plotting their move to LA so Heather can return to like taking over the acting world. Do you think this is some sort of entrance point for her to try to at least get on Beverly Hills? Because the OC ladies obviously don't like her by the end of the season.
I feel like she wants to be, well, and from what I understand, we got Heather Dubrow through Lisa Vanderpump, and Lisa Vanderpump tried to get her on Beverly Hills, and they were like, no, you're more Orange County. And I agree. I think she's more Orange County. And I think it's one thing for Taylor to switch franchises because she's been gone for so long and she's just a friend of, but I don't think they're going to do, I think Cynthia Bailey has a better shot of being on Beverly Hills than Heather
and she's
Dubrow
been
does.
We saw Cynthia Bailey has been on a couple episodes of this upcoming season. But by the way, Taylor Armstrong, we just found out, is really good at switching teams, so it might actually work for her. By the way, did you know Taylor
switching teams? It's that she plays for both teams.
Yeah, did you know that Taylor Armstrong had a full 5-year relationship before what's his name?
No, and so I was like, what? I was like, did we know this? And I forgot because, I mean, I feel like I have a fairly encyclopedic knowledge of what's going on with the Housewives, especially like LGBTQIA plus wise. And so I Googled Taylor Armstrong bisexual and nothing came up, but an article came up from Radar Online. I mean, if your computer needed
so Lisa
a website,
Rinna so Lisa Rinna knew. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So it came up, and it was that Russell was bisexual, and that there was some kind of like sex tape, and that was like part of the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah. And so then I was like, oh, maybe it was like, we're both bi, let's get married, and then we won't like ask questions.
Dude, that's what I wish Bravo would do. I mean, this is probably unfair to Taylor, but I wish Bravo had like an investigative unit where they went and did Netflix style documentaries about certain like pieces of history of like really like breaking down everything like that.
Ryan Bailey, I would like you and I to produce a multi-part investigative podcast series.
Oh my God.
And all we're going to investigate is the Katie Maloney Schwartz falling through a skylight incident, which I need to know like every detail of. I need to know why she was there. I need to know who was present. I need to know like what happened. Like I want to listen to like 100 hours about this.
I remember that episode when Katie Maloney took us through that skylight incident and even showed us pictures of her like jaw and face. And then it was the first time that I completely like empathized with Katie, because I was like, oh my gosh, like that's a huge event. That's like Batman falls through skylights like on purpose, and she accidentally fell. Like that changes a person.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, so that always fascinated me. Also, the Raquel Levis family dynamic.
Oh my God. Still have no clue. I thought I knew, but now I don't feel like I know at all, because so much is Oh God! Well, shit. I was going to talk about a couple more OC, but let's get into Vanderpump a little bit because you just brought it up. Listen, they're filming season
Sorry,
11.
totally derailed this conversation.
No, this is it. I just realized that I was like, oh, we'll be able to cover around the world, and I'm like, we're already 37 minutes in, and I feel like we've just started. Scandal, obviously, they're already shooting season 11. Tom Sandoval wasn't there for the first week because he's filming Armed Forces, a Fox reality series where they pretend like they're in the military. But
did you watch the last one?
No, was it? I know Dr. Drew Pinsky was on it, and
it's based on an English format called SAS, which is huge here, and they love a celebrity reality show. And this is like, my husband makes fun of me because this is how I learn about England is I just watch their like shitty celebrity reality shows. And so we'll see somebody on a billboard and he'll be like, "Who's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, she's on Loose Women." And he's like, "How do you know that?" And I'm like, "Bitch, I fucking watched her on Dancing on Ice." But anyway, the first season of the army show is really good. And Kenya Moore is on it. And Kenya Moore kicks fucking ass. She does better than like most of the athletes. She fucking kills it. And there's one challenge where you have to go and like beat a person up and they're wearing like pads and whatever. And like Kenya goes in and you could tell Mark Daly's face was on that man's head because she fucking walloped the shit out of him. So
Kenya's a star,
I am
man.
excited.
Kenya is a star. Kenya is somebody that's like just like been stays a legend. I mean, and she's like, you know, she's like the promise of Nene. Like Nene kind of fell off and she did things that like but like Kenya's still there. Kenya's still at like arguably the top of her game and gets more and more respect from the naysayers each season and each year that she's around.
And I feel like the more you watch Kenya off the show, like if you watch her on this army show, if you watch her on Ultimate Girls Trip, like you only like her more somehow because you see her like outside of the dynamic and you're like, oh, you're actually like cool and smart and funny and tough.
That's why sometimes I liked Ultimate Girls Trip because it gave me a different perspective or a different, like I already like, you know, I will say like the first season of Girls Trip, it made me rethink Teresa Giudice, but now I've rethought it again once this season aired. But you
don't like her, do you?
I do not. No, I don't. I mean, like I hate this. Like I don't. But no. But I live in a. We live in a day and age where you can't say that out loud. Like you can't. Like you've got to hide the fact that you might dislike Teresa Giudice, and you have to hide the fact of something so obvious that this man Louis is not good. You have to literally. You will get attacked. You will get doxxed. You will get like. And I don't know why we can't just say things that are obvious sometimes.
I mean, do you think that this is his like Twitter bot army? Like, do you think there's any reality to that?
Well, I think there's reality just in the sense that I thought there was a Twitter bot army during last season of Beverly Hills. Like we do know these things actually happen. Yeah. We do know these things get put into play. I do know for all intents and purposes, no matter if you love Rinna or don't like Rinna like got her hands very dirty, even dealing with like bloggers like ourselves, where she was going back and forth trying to like, she was a politician, you know, like, I mean, that's why I think comparing her to Tamra in a sense, Tamra goes in there and does this same thing that we all notice, but the cast doesn't. Lisa used to do that as well. She just got so lost in the sauce, as Schwartz would say, this past season and lost her marbles. Yeah. But Tamra's still like able to control that. But Rinna to me was always so obvious that she would, you know, suck up somebody else's storyline and get offended when she had no right to get offended. But yeah, I do believe Twitter bot armies. I do believe that people are behind the scenes doing this stuff. Whether it's Louis or not, I don't want to actually physically say anywhere on. But there's something. There's something. There's something deeply wrong.
The Twitter bot army.
Yes, there's something deeply wrong with. And I'm not saying I'm not saying Melissa and Joey are amazing. Like they're perfect, but I will say I sometimes understand Melissa's point of view, even though I watched the christening episode and I realized how tainted it was from the very start. But it's dark over in Jersey.
Yeah, no, I think that's what's hard in general about the fandom these days, even outside of like the Twitter bot armies, is that there always needs to be like sides, and that it's like if you don't like Teresa, you have to love you know, Melissa and Joe. And it's like, no, I can hate everybody. I am as equally capable of like hating, you know, Lisa Rinna and Kathy Hilton. Like I don't need to like pick a side.
Well, that was the thing. Is like, well, if we don't like Sandoval anymore, we have to idolize DJ James Kennedy. And I'm like, wait a sec. I like DJ James Kennedy. I think he's hysterical, but I'm also able to remember all the seasons where DJ James Kennedy said a lot of nasty, nasty shit.
Including this one.
Yeah, I hold room in both. Like, yeah, I live in fear of being called a fat fuck by DJ James Kennedy, because I know I would say one wrong thing and be like, you fat fuck Ryan Bailey with your big belly, your big sloppy belly. But yeah, like, why does one have to be a hero? One has to be a villain. Like, why do we have to choose that deep of sides?
I completely agree. And yeah, James Kennedy is the number one guy in the group. It's because he's the only one left. So that doesn't make him number one.
He's going to blow it. Because he's going to blow it again in season 11 or season 12. DJ James Kennedy is going to do something so awful that we're going to get back to that place where we were so shocked about Sandoval. Even if you watch back the series, you're like, oh, he was always a little off. He was always like choosing people over Ariana.
So speaking of Jersey and Vanderpump Rules, how do you think filming goes forward on these shows? Are you looking forward to the next season of Vanderpump Rules that just started filming?
Of course I am. Yeah, of course. Of course I am. Just because I'm excited in a different way. I've explained to the audience that I'm more excited from like a meta kind of way of how do you film when you're at like so popular that I was DMing with one of the producers because I said, man, you just seem like you have a crowd now everywhere you go filming this first week. How's that going? I said, is it just interrupting? How's the sound? I was like even worried about the sound. And they said, so far, it's like, so far we have a really good security team and everybody's been so respectful. But at the same time, just that feeling of these people have been there for 10 seasons and now they're being watched like like even more intense fishbowl. Like to me, that's the thing. I don't even care really about Sandoval coming back. What I care about is, one of these numbnuts is going to like fight over a brand deal or fight over a podcast or fight about the attention that they're not getting. And that's the shit where you're going to see Ariana probably have to get into some weird situations because Ariana got a brand deal that like Lala wanted. And that's what I kind of am excited to see potentially.
No, absolutely. As I always say, all fights on the show are about the show. And it's like you see Lala and Sheena and Ariana getting a lot of attention and Katie Maloney Schwartz Maloney falling through the skylight, not getting as much. And so then does she get mad? And yeah, I'm with you. I'm like interested in that. And I'm also like, I'm such a nerd about like how these things get made and like all of that I'm like intrigued by that. I would rather the docu-series of the making of this season rather than this season. Like that's the thing or even how they handled Scandival. Like I was talking to one, just like them picking back up the cameras, them using the Beverly Hills crew. To me, that was so fascinating of really getting this stuff together so quickly. And then all of this stuff was coming out. And then the documentary of like them keeping us interested for 3 months, like 3 months where it got more and more intense each week. And for us to be still interested on the end date as we were on the beginning date was really a feat. Bravo usually is heavy handed. And there was almost like a delicacy in which they handled this in some ways. They did it so well. And I give them major props for him. And I think they knew this was like a once in a lifetime moment and they really ran with the ball. But to continue my sports analogy, what I'm worried about with this season is, have you watched the show Welcome to Wrexham? I think it's on FX in America.
Which, by the way, I don't like sports, but I love sports documentaries and docuseries.
Same.
And Rob McElhaney and Ryan Reynolds buy a soccer team.
Yeah. And so it's about like the players and blah, blah, blah. Well, so I got my father into it. And so as they were filming the second season, he was like sending me the scores from the games and such. And I was like, no spoilers for my favorite reality show. Like, I want to watch this happen on the show. I don't want to see it like in real life. And I'm afraid because Vanderpump's going to be filming in public. They're going to be filming at their bars. Everyone's there. Everyone has a phone. Like, I don't want it to be like,
we're going to see everything.
Oh, they filmed here. Oh, so-and-so filmed with so-and-so. Oh, they're in a fight. Like, I don't think it really impedes my enjoyment that much, but I want to see it play out on the show rather than just trying to take all these little bits and trying to triangulate what is going on with everybody,
Well, there's whole entire accounts and TikTok accounts that do just that. that have already like
Yeah.
the first week and a half of filming, we already know Pump closes. So like I already saw Lisa stand up, which you can already be like, when me and Ken started this restaurant, you already can see. By the way, already too much Lisa this season. Like even just from the photos, I'm like, no. I don't want to know about you getting back on a horse. I don't want to know. Like I just want to know about the kids. I don't care about Pump closing unless you cheat with Nick Elaine. That's the only thing I want to hear about. You know?
Oh my God, I would die.
Nick Elaine. She loves Nick Elaine. Steampunk.
I think that the best thing about this past season was I liked like how absent Scandival, the show kind of became about these kids who used to be servers who are now like restaurant entrepreneurs, right? And they're working at their businesses. And you have Lisa come in as their like mentor, kind of. And I was like, this is as much Lisa as I need. I want Lisa to come in and talk about their shit and then go away. I don't want Lisa showing up with her own shit. Like, I don't care about Lisa's shit. I want to see their shit. So
and also I don't want to waste my viewing time for somebody to explain to Lisa what we already saw. Like, oh, Lisa, you don't understand. We're yelling at Schwartz right now because Schwartz, we found out, cheated 30 times in Cabo on Katie over, like, I don't want to watch her play catch up on the show.
Yes, agree. Or her using Ken Todd to come out and deliver his one line.
Wait, no, Brian. Brian, no, I'm all good with that. That is, I want everything delivered by Ken. Do you think Raquel will come back?
Oh, I mean, I really want Raquel not to come back for her own.
If she cares about her mental health, she shouldn't come back.
Yeah. I have a friend who is a television writer, and she writes like very smart people, like prestige television shows. And she's also a huge Bravo fan. And we were talking about Scandival, and I was like, I want you to write a show where Raquel, for her mental health, has to give up the show and like moves back to Tucson and works at a bank. Like, that's what I want to see, a show about Raquel trying to go back to real life after having survived reality television. And so like in my mind, that's where
Doc Hollywood without being a doctor, like Michael J. Fox, that old movie, he goes to a small town. Like, that would be kind of incredible, actually.
Yeah. And it's like, and she's still dealing with all that. I'm like, so in my mind, that's where Raquel is. But I mean, oh my God, they're gonna throw fucking
Can you imagine
money at her?
See, Brian, that's part of my documentary, is that the conversations they're trying to woo her and her team. And Alex Baskin is talking to her parents every day of like, how's our girl doing? How's our girl doing today? Is she good? She get some rest? You guys need anything? You need any groceries? Like, what those wooing? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, because I think that because there was that whole thing. I don't know anything about Raquel's family other than what we've seen on the show, but they seem like middle class, like regular kind of people with some means, maybe, I guess. I don't know. But when we found out she was sleeping on Sheena's couch and Sheena was paying for her apartment, I'm like, why didn't the parents step in? I think the parents
I was confused as well, because I heard that they were well off in a certain way. That why was then I do know for a time Raquel was working at SUR even after the cameras, but she only could get the studio apartment in North Hollywood. And then Sheena did let her stay at her place, which she had sex on the sheets, Sheena said, and didn't wash the sheets, which is like so offensive to Sheena. But like, she really was trying to make her own way. But now I'm curious how much Sandoval was like footing the bill for her life as well, on top of, because Sandoval just hands out money to everybody.
Yeah. And I think that the parents are very anti the show. And so I feel like if they're helping with her mental health and whatever, they're going to be like, you can't do this, or we're not helping you again. And so I feel like maybe that's going to limit Raquel. I don't know. I'm just kind of making shit up. So if Sandoval,
but it's great to speculate, because Sandoval and Raquel, it seems like Sandoval was obviously sleeping with people on the road, which doesn't mean that he's not with Raquel because he likes to cheat. But like, The thing is, if they're not together anymore, do we then see a single Sandoval on the show where he's hooking up with fans and stuff like that? Do we see that kind of weird, like picking up people at Schwartz and Sandy's if he's allowed back in? And then I was thinking too of Raquel coming in. Do they have to hide her if she does come to the show? Do they have to hide her in a sheet like they did with like just so nobody sees the superhero costume?
Yeah, it's like Taylor Swift in the like suitcase, you know, like. Yeah,
exactly. Do they have to do that
into Tom
so it doesn't ruin the surprise of Raquel coming back?
I mean, yeah, I feel like they at least got to get her in to do something, but also like, who's she gonna film with? What's she gonna say? I don't know. I feel like Raquel is maybe the least interesting part of Scandival.
Right, exactly. I got in trouble on Twitter a couple weeks ago because I said, I don't really think the show needs Raquel because she's never been a dynamic character. She was like the lever which all of this happened by, but even in her scenes, she was never able to effectively communicate. She was never even able to toast. Like, even her past storylines have never been good. So all of a sudden, unless I always use the example of Sandy at the end of Grease when she comes in leather, she's like, tell me about it, stud. And all of a sudden she's smoking. It's like Raquel's not going to come out of this mental health facility and be like, what the fuck's up? I'm Raquel. Let's do this. She's still going to be the same person.
Yeah. And like, I just feel that, we don't need Raquel. It's that kind of thing where I'm fascinated because I can't figure it out. Like, we've watched enough reality television. We know how it's made. We know how the people behave. And I feel the same way about Selling Sunset. I only watch Selling Sunset because I can't figure out what's real. I can't figure out what's fake. I can't figure out how it's made. Exactly. I'm like, what is this fucking thing? And I feel the same way about Raquel. The only thing that's interesting to me is like, what is wrong with you? How did you get here? Why are you behaving like this? Like,
well, I've learned, the hard way of like, we can't diagnose people. So I'm like, okay, cool. Will the mental health facility give us the diagnosis? Will we be able to get an official diagnosis? Because you're right. After decades of watching shows and loving these shows, we archetype these characters so easily now for the people that watch it over decades that Raquel really is this big question mark where I've never seen something like it. But at the same time, there might just be that there's nothing there to begin with. So you can fill her up. Like, all these guys started liking her because she was a mirror that reflected back who they wanted to be,
she's like a cipher. And I mean, and I loved her at the beginning part of the season for exposing how awful so many of the women on the show are.
Man, Lala lucked out. Lala lucked out this season. Raquel did what she did.
Out. Oh my God. Same with Katie Maloney, Schwartz Maloney. I mean,
but I firmly loved Katie by the end of the season. I really did. And I thought what she had to, sorry, bro, I really did. And I thought what she had to go, I think part of it also is because I've been divorced. What she did, what she had to do, because Schwartz would have been that same person the rest of their lives. He never would have done that. He would have cheated on her multiple times. And I think what she did actually takes a lot of bravery, but I think she suffers sometimes from like politicians that aren't charming outwardly on TV. Like, Schwartz is always going to win that battle. Schwartz is always going to pop better on screen. So Katie to find that footing, I think, was actually, I want to see more of that, I guess I'll say.
I mean, I feel my problem with Katie is that she's always right, but she's always awful. Like, it's like, she was totally right about everything she said about Schwartz, but she was like extra mean to Raquel. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it's somebody not in control of their powers.
You, Katie, I agree with you, but like, why do you have to be so mean? Why do you have to be such a jerk about it?
Well, I mean, I think she does not have control of her powers. Like, she's right, but she does it. She comes out, and now that we're actually listening, sometimes I think it can be completely clunky in the delivery of that message because you're right all along. All you have to do is step back. And sometimes, she won't do that step back, and she's not as much of a verbal assassin as Lala or DJ James Kennedy, so it can come off a little clunky. But I know I only have a couple more minutes, which sucks. What did are you as pissed as I am about the fake, like everybody saying that the season of Scandival and Bravo as a whole is completely fake? It was scripted, you guys. It was scripted. All of this was scripted.
Girl, and I have said this so many times, but I will say it again. We have seen enough of these people try to act that we know that they are not this good of actors. Like,
or tell or keeping secrets. They can't do any of that shit.
No, and like those emotions are real, I'm convinced. And like, yeah, and I mean, I think I made this point in my book, and from everybody who I've talked to, all the housewives, all the producers, like everybody is like, yeah, these situations are produced. Like, you're not going to be on this vacation otherwise, you're not going to be at this party otherwise, but everything that happens there, what they're feeling, everything they're going through is very real, and like these things really hurt them. And yeah, and so I get really annoyed by that, like, because that's the kind of shit you get from non-fans. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of shit Liev Schreiber posts underneath a picture of Ariana on a Times Twitter.
We almost
like what
we almost ruined Liev Schreiber's career. Like he potentially got to a point where he might not have worked again after that comment about like, is this really news? I love that we almost ruined his career.
I hope that no one ever pulls that trick again, because that's another thing I'm so sick of. I get really mad when people are denigrate reality and like make fun of our thing. And
yeah, like I'm supposed to be ashamed. I'm supposed to be ashamed of what I love. When this actually does make world news, there's actually something so fascinating in human behavior, and they've gotten so good at it. Like, I can't wait to see where reality shows go next. I mean, by the way, to end, I guess, we had one of the biggest announcements potentially in Housewives history, which, Chrishell G-Flip related, is Kyle Richards and Mauricio Umansky. Camelot has potentially fallen with, there had been a lot of rumors. And then all of a sudden, People magazine came out with an exclusive on Monday, I believe. And then they even made a joint Instagram statement about their relationship. What were your thoughts, Brian, through all of this? Because I'm sure you had already heard the rumors with Morgan Wade, the country star, and potentially watched TikToks about this.
Can I tell you a secret? I was like, I'm never going to TikTok. And then I got on TikTok just to like find out about this. Because there was like, on TikTok, Kyle and Mauricio are broken up. I was like, what? I mean, I am not one to believe in a conspiracy theory. Unless it's about Leah Michelle being illiterate, which I
she's never read your Vulture articles, Brian. FYI.
I mean, she can't do it. She loves me because she's never read a mean thing I've written about her. But I don't know. The evidence is pretty convincing. But I don't know. I'm shocked on multiple fronts. They always seemed good. And yeah, Kyle never struck me as the queerest. So,
which, by the way, but people are multifaceted. People can change. People can grow.
Yeah, no, yes.
We saw her flip out over Melissa Etheridge's "Come to My Window" last season. Like, that's, I mean, obviously right. We saw her lose her shit. Like, no, it's not Melissa. It's not Melissa, and it was Melissa. So what frustrates me is they're obviously done filming for the season. Do they pick up cameras a la Scandival again? And then will Kyle ever be completely honest about this relationship if it exists? Now, I do know they're actually friends, and that's been admitted. And by the way, people can be friends with lesbian and gay. Like, that's obviously a very
easy. Have you ever been friends with a lesbian?
Guys,
no.
Don't guys, don't cancel me, please. Like, you can't. But so I don't want to, like, I know it's very rude to like speculate on these things, but it is so fascinating when you look at some of the evidence with the tattoos and the jewelry that Morgan's wearing. All of this stuff is so deep. That's in our Bravo investigative podcast that we're starting. We got to do this story eventually.
Oh my God, absolutely. Well, and that's what's fascinating to me is like, I feel like Scandival set a few bad precedents, which is like, one is the like super investigative TikTok, like, oh, we're going to comb through all this shit and find things and try to make things up. Like, I mean, it's fun. I get it. But I think, and also the camera's coming back up because, like I said, Scandival was a once in a lifetime thing. Like, it was a perfect storm. It's never going to happen again. Yeah. And we just need to accept that. And like, the reason cameras had to come back up on Scandival is because of the nature of it meant the entire cast was involved, because it's like, it's DJ James Kennedy's ex-girlfriend.
Yep.
It's Tom's best friend. It's Katie's ex-husband. It's like, we are all involved in this thing and this lie you were telling. The only person involved in Kyle and Mauricio is Kyle. So it's like, if cameras come back up, it should just be to Kyle be like, well, we're broken up and I'm not a lesbian. You know, like they're not going to start filming like weeks of shit and get the ladies back together. And no, that's not going to happen.
I think if anything, we might get cell phone reactions of like we did with Erica Jane and Tom when the divorce day on November 20th, where we got some cell phone footage of like, oh dear, you know, like we might get something like that, but I don't think we'll actually have a camera crew borrowed from Vanderpump Rules to shoot these reactions potentially.
No, absolutely not. I mean, she's going to get a grilling at the reunion, obviously. But I also think that it's interesting for a number of reasons. One is the shit they did to Denise Richards when she slept with Brandi Glanville once. And then Kyle Richards, of all people, to be like, don't speculate, don't talk about us. Bitch, that is your job. That is your job. Your job is to be there for us to talk about. And so
this opens up the weakness of Kyle of never really revealing, like she's always like, you know, playing middle of the road. And this puts her in the worst position on how she likes to live her life on the show. Like it's the worst. We're all speculating and she's not able to control any narrative.
Absolutely. And I also feel like Erica Jane sent Morgan Wade flowers, chocolates, alcohol, a
Morgan,
Disney World.
You, Morgan, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, take the spotlight off me, bitch. Bye.
Well, this was the Erica Jane redemption season, and now I feel like we're all going to be looking for these clues, like we went back and watched with Scandal of like, oh, is Kyle leering at a lady in the background? Like, what is going on? Would it be great if Kyle, the first episode, we see a scene, and then Kyle's like, we were all so straight that day, you know, like we were all so happy. We were all so straight. Who knew what was yet to come, you know?
Wait, that I would be riding Morgan's mechanical bull in no time.
But dude, I would be so there for like a scissoring scene in Beverly Hills. Are you kidding me? That would be just amazing. I'm joking.
I mean, we suddenly have so many lesbians. Like we went from none to a million.
Ultimate Girls Trip Lesbian Edition. Like ultimate.
I mean,
Brandy's finally able to come back. Brandy's able to come back. Wait,
Ultimatum Girls Trip.
Okay, last day. I know I got to let you go, but the Erica Jane, would you be honest? Are you ghostwriting her next book? I know you ghostwrote her for. Will you be honest and let me know that is true?
I have not heard anything about a second book.
Come on, man. I made this prediction. I made this prediction a year and a half ago when I said, I bet you are already at work on this book that I truly think that is being written. And I know you would be the writer for this.
I have not heard anything about a second book. I actually haven't talked to Erica in a fair amount of time. We tried to meet up at BravoCon, and with our schedules, it kind of like didn't work out, but I haven't talked to her since then. So I've talked to you more recently than I've talked to Erica. I will say I have talked to a few housewives about writing their books, but none of them have happened yet. So
I mean, so is Gina's going to be a pamphlet, or do you have a plan of action for that?
Yes,
or?
Gina and I'm writing Gina's dating profile. No.
Oh wait, are you excited for Jackson, Kristen, and all those people to come back? I forgot to ask that.
I never want to see Jax Taylor on my television ever again.
Okay, that's perfect. But Dodie, you'd be okay with?
Dodie, I'm okay with. Well, and I've said this a lot. What's funny about Bravo is it's really good at like the 20s, like Summer House, original Vanderpump, like party craziness. It, you know, like Below Deck, all that stuff. And it's also really good at like 40 plus housewives. We have kids, we're starting businesses, whatever. It's really bad at that middle, that like, we just got married, we're having kids, we're settling down. Like, and I don't know if that's because that stage of life is inherently boring, but like, or what, but I would be interested to see some of the Vanderpump people, you know, starting their families, settling down, what that looks like. So as long as Jax isn't involved.
No, see, I think Jax will be great because Jax will be so dumb that he's putting himself back in the lion's den where he'll be forced to make some dumb move and cheat and ruin the beautiful family that he has. Like he'll ruin it again. Like I believe that if he puts himself back in there, which he is, we do know Jax's deal. At the end of the day, like that's why he knows Sandoval so well and all the shit he's doing. You know, Jax keeps acting like he knows Sandoval. He knows Sandoval because he knows himself. He knows exactly what's in his own head, and he knows that he would potentially do the same thing.
I feel like we know Jax's game too well. And like, so there's no like mystery to like what it's like, oh, you're just a liar and a narcissist. And so I'm like, okay. And like, I think we got the best out of Jax that we're
and we'll see those on repeats on for forever. You guys, Brian Moylan, his book, which I believe you can get on paperback at this time. Is that right, Brian?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
I have the hardcover.
It's like $3 on fucking ebook, girl. So
well, I paid full price. So the Housewives, the real story behind the Real Housewives. If you probably already have this, you need to add it to your collection if you're a Bravo fan, period. Like, this is a conversation piece. Also, I'm telling you, go sign up for Vulture's Housewives Institute Bulletin, which Brian writes for and runs, and it is truly something that pops in my mailbox every Friday, I believe, and I love it every
month.
Week. Once a month? I thought it was every Friday.
Once a month. It comes out on this coming Friday.
But your reviews come out every week.
Yeah, okay. And then I recap all the shows, and they come up on Vulture right after the episode airs. So I'm doing Crappy Lake, Sonia and Luann, which
we didn't even get a time. I saw the first couple episodes about that. That was so fun.
Oh, it's so fun and so funny. So I'm doing that. I'm doing the New York, Orange County, of course. So yeah, come on by, check it out.
Anything else to check out or support you with?
No, that's it.
I mean,
feel free to send dick pics. I'm not.
Well, you know what? Do it on Brian's new Thread account on Threads, just to see if we can get dick pics on Threads. Would be amazing. You're truly a hero of mine, Brian. Thank you so much. I hope we get to meet up again at BravoCon, and we will not be confused for each other. But this is always a joy. And please, I'm going to try to ask myself to beg you to come on more often. So thank you so much, dude.
Anytime. Thank you, sir.